Welcome to Inquiring Minds. My name is Doug and I'm back with another fountain pen review. I've had a few requests from viewers to review the new Kaweco Sport AL piston filler fountain pen. Now, I'm not a big fan of Kaweco, although the most recent Kaweco Sport that I received from Gold Spot Pens was a very nice little pen. It's still too small and too light for my liking. But I looked online at the new black aluminum piston filler Sport, and I was immediately convinced by the price tag that I wasn't going to review it. Then I started seeing many of my YouTube colleagues opening Kaweco Sport AL pistons provided by various suppliers. I got a little indignant, and I thought to myself, well, where's my Kaweco Sport piston for review? Where? Then it struck me. Well, they asked for them. So I emailed the wonderful Tom Odo of Gold Spot Pens and said, hey Tom, where's my Kaweco Sport AL piston for review? Where? And I had this in my hands from Tom in, count 'em, 5 days. So even though I'm late to the party, let's take a look at this new pen from Kaweco right now. So I'm seeing all these reviews of the new Kaweco Sport piston model, and I've had a number of requests. Are you going to review it? Are you going to review it? Well, it's a bit pricey for me for a pen that I'm probably not fond of, but you guys want to see a review. So I went ahead and asked Tom Odo of Gold Spot Pens, who very kindly sent me this Gold Spot exclusive Kaweco Sport in this beautiful purple color that I reviewed recently. And I said, hey Tom, I've got a number of people asking for that new piston. Would you send one to me? And he said, absolutely. And within 5 days, here it is on my doorstep. So I'm really excited. Thank you, Tom, very much. Very generous. I know that we're all anxious to see this pen, but can we get it out of the box? We'll cut it out of the box. Let's see what I got. I've got a Gold Spot catalog. Well, look at all the purples. Isn't that nice? Must be the color of this month. And it's nice to see real catalogs. You know, these went out of fashion for the longest time. Look at this, full color. That's nice of Gold Spot. And just to remind you, I am an affiliate of Gold Spot Pens, which means that when you use the link in my description, it supports my channel as well from Gold Spot. And there's a photo of my very favorite Leonardo right there, the blue Hawaii Momento Zero. Beautiful pen. So let's put that aside for later perusing. A little bit of pen porn. And you'll see the retail price of this, $165 US. Complimentary pen for review on YouTube channel from Tom Odo, tom@goldspot.com. Again, thank you so much, Tom, for doing this. He did inform me that wait a minute. He told me in my email that the canister, they were running short of them. And so he would just send me the pen itself. And I said, that's fine, that's fine. And I got a feeling, I think I've got the canister too. The little tin. Well, that's exciting. Wait for it! Well, that's a nice surprise. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to send Tom something. I'll send him my autograph. He'll appreciate that. Let's look at the box first. I'm all excited. Let's look at the box. It says, Der Kaweco Kolbenfuller Inkonischen Sportdesign mittels seiner raffinierten Kolbenmechanik kann die Tint direkt und den integrierten Tintenraum des Verhalters aufgenommen werden. And I think loosely translated, that means, because, you know, my German is a little bit rough, I think what that means is the Kaweco piston filler is the iconic sports design. Thanks to the clever piston mechanism, the ink can be added directly to the fountain pen's integrated ink chamber. I was not coached on that at all.
Right.
Tried and trusted, Solo Black, medium. Includes the piston filler and a manual. I don't know who Emmanuel is. Let's open it up. I didn't think I'd be excited about a Kaweco. But this is fairly momentous occasion. I think this is the first Kaweco Sport in a long time. They may have made pistons before, but I'll have to look into that. Since 1883, so maybe in those few years that they've been around, they've made a piston filler. Tried and trusted. Nice tin. Let's see if we can open it. Is it a screw thread or is it a pull? It's a pull. So maybe what he was talking about was that the canister set comes with the pen and a bottle of ink, whereas this one just comes with the pen. So maybe that's what he was talking about. But I've got the pen here and these little booklets. So that's a sticker and the little booklet from Kaweco on the history of Kaweco. Guarantee information. The guarantee says, Hermit bestagen we inne der Echtes befonsen. We hereby prove the genuineness of this Kaweco writing instrument and assure you the period of warranty required by law. But they don't tell you what that period of warranty is. Okay, let's say it's a year. Let's get the pen out. I don't think there's anything else in here. I can leave all this stuff out, and then I can use this for all my bits and bobs. I have a lot of bits and bobs that roll around and are in need of storage. Well, here's the piston, and here's the Kaweco Sport Ordinary Standard Edition. This has got the upgraded clip, as you can get this clip, but this clip isn't slip-on like the regular Sport is. This one's integrated into the end finial, which unscrews. It is an aluminum powder-coated black with gold appointments. 1, almost 2, 1.5. So it's a little bit more turns. And there's the ink window. And the section does not come off, but I think the nib is the same. Yeah, the nibs are the same. And there's the piston. Okay, so there's a blind cap there, and it's like a captured converter almost. There's the piston. This is similar to my Delta that was kindly sent to me, my DV2, kindly sent to me by Nino Marino. It has the same thing. This is a piston filler, but it has a blind cap that comes off, and you can adjust the piston without turning the blind cap. You say, well, why would you do that? Well, one of the reasons is that when you want to charge the pen with some ink, say you got the piston half full of ink, and when it's sitting down like this, all you have on the top part of the pen is air. So what you'll want to do is maybe turn the pen upside down and dial up a little bit more ink and charge that feed with some ink. On a regular piston filler, that'll end up with a gap, just like that. Whereas with this captured converter type, you can keep pushing that piston down, just like a cartridge converter. Keep pushing that piston down so that you don't have any air in the system, and just keep pushing the ink towards the nib. And that keeps it from burping. It's a good preventative way of keeping it from burping. I just want to try this for a second. Yes, this has a removable nib assembly here, Kaweco, with a silicone O-ring right there, but not one at the bottom. There we go, and it should post. Yes, this is my first metal Sport, so I'll have to check out what the weights of the Sport AL is to see whether the piston version is heavier, which I expect it might be. But on first blush, this is a very, very nice pen. So thanks again go out to Tom Odo of Gold Spot Pens for providing this pen for review. We'll think about an ink for it, and we'll get after that review right away. I'll show the parts and features of this pen, show some size comparisons and measurements, and then provide a writing sample. And then I'll talk about what I like and what I don't like so much about this fountain pen. Let's look at this Kaweco Sport AL piston with the Kaweco Sport Plastic Edition. This one is the Gold Spot Pen's exclusive in Royal Amethyst. The Sport AL piston is made of powder-coated aluminum, but has a different cap and body style from the AL Sport. The Sport Piston has an integrated clip, which makes it more visually similar to the Kaweco Art Sport. The Art Sport is made of acrylic and is very similar in dimensions to this model. Overall, the pen is the same size as the regular plastic Sport, but is almost 9 grams heavier, of course being made of metal, and is a piston filler. The Kaweco Sport AL weighs in at 21 grams, where the Sport AL Piston weighs only 1 gram more according to the Kaweco website. From the top we see the unscrewable top finial, which has the same Kaweco logo, gold medallion, as the regular Sport. If you unscrew the top finial, you can remove the clip, but you also see how little cap clearance there is here. So if you're going to swap your nib for something that isn't a number 5 size Bach, be careful of the length, as there's precious little clearance here. It also shows that unlike the regular Sport, the AL piston doesn't have an inner cap seal to keep the nib from evaporation. The clip is nicely springy and usable, and is the fancy version rather than the more simple clip that can be purchased for the regular Sports. The cap has the familiar octagonal facets of the classic Sports, and Kaweco Sport is engraved into one of the facets. The barrel is the same as the other Sports, with the exception of the gold band separating the blind cap and any reading on the end. The regular Sports have this reading on the end, whereas the piston does not. The blind cap unscrews to reveal the reeded end of the piston knob with the Kaweco logo in gold on the end. So as I showed in the unboxing, this is similar to other types of piston fillers like the Delta DV 2.0, which have the piston knob hidden under a removable blind cap. This is a nice feature if you're used to using a cartridge converter and like to charge the feed and keep the remaining ink up near the nib rather than have a bubble of air at the top of the converter. You just keep dialing the ink level up to expel the air as you write. And this also reduces the chance of ink burping as well. It's actually a very nice feature. The cap unscrews with 1 3/4 turns to reveal the aluminum section and the number 5 size Bach steel nib, plastic feed, and the ink window. Let's look closer at this nib. It is a standard number 5 size Bach Kaweco nib, this one being a medium. The nib and feed are part of a nib assembly for swapping or maintenance. Beware that the feed of the piston filler is different at the back end than one made for a converter. So if you're just wanting to swap nibs, you'll have to use the Kaweco nib and feed unit. I'm not sure that Kaweco sells the nib units for this piston separately. I couldn't decipher a lot about the Kaweco website as it's in German, and the Google Chrome translation talks a lot about feathers and mouthpieces. Also, the fact that Kaweco doesn't recognize Canada as a country did make me feel a tad unwelcome there, so I didn't stay. The section does not unscrew, but you can get at the ink chamber through the front when the nib unit is removed. And I can't see any way to unscrew the piston mechanism from the pen. The cap posts deeply and securely as expected, but what was unexpected was that it posts right on the blind cap. Now with a normal piston filler, this isn't a good idea, as it's easy to turn the piston, causing ink to spew out the front. However, because the blind cap isn't part of the piston knob, all it does is remove the blind cap, which is actually very convenient, both when you're filling the pen, because this is a much larger blind cap than the small one, and while you're writing, you just unscrew that blind cap with the cap itself, charge up your nib a little bit, and then roll that blind cap back on with the cap. Unposted, the pen is almost too short to write with comfortably for me, but the pen is designed to post. And the pen is very comfortable in the hand posted. I must say that I've been very impressed with this pen now that I've been writing with it every day for the last week. I've not been a big fan of the Kaweco Sport as they're just too small and light for me, but this heavier Sport is quite a different animal. I suspect the extra weight just allows the pen to sit in my hand and be a little bit more substantial than its plastic brother. And the nib on this pen is extraordinary as well, as we'll see in the writing sample. The Kaweco AL Sport Piston retails at Gold Spot Pens for $165 US for the single pen and $175 in the kit with the bottle of Kaweco ink. Gold Spot is currently out of stock on the starter kit version with the ink and only has a few of the solo pistons available. Now let's look at some size comparisons. And here's the Kaweco Sport AL Piston with a Kaweco Sport in Royal Amethyst, a Moonman RS1 Titanium, a Lanbitu 3062 in copper, and a Hongdian M1 aluminum. Now let's look at them posted. And here they are posted. You see the M1 from Hongdian is much shorter than the others, and the Lanbitu is the longest. The RS1 from Moonman Majon is usually titanium colored, but I anodized this into these really nice rainbow colors. There is no clip on this, but the Kaweco slip-on clip does fit this Moonman. Now let's look at them unposted. Here they are unposted. You can see that the two sports are exactly the same size unposted, whereas the Lanbitu again is much longer. And the M1 is much shorter. I'm unable to write with this pen unposted, but the section is much longer, as you can see, than the others. Now let's look at some measurements, and I'll be back with a writing sample. And we're back with the writing portion of the review. This is Clairefontaine 90 GSM paper, and this is the Kaweco Sport Piston AL, and it has a number 5 size Bach steel medium nib. Let's check the wetness. Well, this is decently wet, and oh my God. This is one of the smoothest nibs I've ever experienced. It actually rivals probably the smoothest nib that I own, which is on my Pilot E95S, which is a 14 karat gold medium, and is just so slick and smooth. I don't think I've got a nib that's any smoother than that, and this one rivals that. I was really quite taken by this nib when I first put nib to paper. So I've been writing with this pen a lot over the last week. There's virtually no feedback on the page. That was my fingernail. You can't hear it at all, just like glass. And the ink today is a creation I mixed up myself based on a suggestion from a Facebook pen group. Someone posted a 50-50 mix of Konpeki and Jack Frost. Someone posted an image of a mix they made which was 50-50% Iroshizuku Konpeki, my favorite ink, and Dimeans Jack Frost. And since I have both of these colors, I mixed up a 50-50 mix, and I really like this. And what intrigued me about this was how much the mix reminded me of the ink that I use in my opening scribble, which is in my Leonardo Momento Zero Blue Hawaii, and it is Kyanite du Nepal from G. Urbain. This mixture of Konpeki and Jack Frost has the Konpeki blue-green and the silver shimmer of the Jack Frost, which is similar to the Kyanite du Nepal. So I'm going to call this Frost du Nepal. The camera always has a tough time with blue-greens, but trust me when I say that the Kyanite du Nepal is slightly greener than the Frost du Nepal, which is the Konpeki taking it more towards blue, which is closer to blue than the blue-green of the Kyanite du Nepal. I like Frost du Nepal a lot, but it ain't cheap, that's for sure. As to line variation, yeah, this is a very stiff nib, so there's no variation there at all. And this nib makes a 0.6 millimeter line, which is a Western medium or a Japanese medium to broad on my Richard Binder line width chart, which you can find linked in the description below. And for our quote. And for some reverse writing, it's very scratchy, very thin, but it's actually, well, no, it's drying up a bit. If you wanted to reverse that to sketch with it, you'd have to polish that up a bit. And for some quick writing. No issues whatsoever. So what do I like and what do I not like about this fountain pen? Well, I'm very surprised by this pen. I thought it would just be a Kaweco Sport out of aluminum. Okay, no big deal. I thought I'd review it and even think about giving it away when I get to 17,000 subscribers shortly. But no, I'm keeping this one. This one's mine.
What's that?
This is mine.
What's that, Basil?
And two things make this pen a keeper for me. The nib and the weight. The plastic Sport is just too light for me. The titanium Moonman is just too heavy. This sleek black and gold Sport AL piston is just right.
She tasted the porridge in the wee little bowl. It was just right.
I know I'm going to keep this pen inked and it will be used. There are some things that I have observed that are small issues with the pen, however, and the lack of a cap seal is one of them. It might end up being an issue. I'll find that out over time. I haven't had it long enough to know whether the nib will dry out quickly or not. So far, there's been no issue. And the lack of a way to disassemble the pen piston might be an issue. Again, time will tell how well that piston mechanism lasts without any maintenance. Getting into the ink chamber to clean the pen out is easy enough when you unscrew the nib unit and stick a blunt syringe in there. I suppose once the piston needs some lubrication, you can spread a little silicone grease down the neck of the section with the end of a blunt syringe or a straightened out paper clip, and that should be fairly easy. And there you have it. Thanks go out to Tom Odo of Goldspot Pens for providing this pen for review. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell to get instant notifications whenever a new video is posted. You can also join as a member of my channel for 99 cents a month, and I guarantee I'll answer your comments in the comment section, and you'll get cool badges, emojis, sneak peek unboxing videos, as well as instant access to my videos the moment I post them. And that just leaves it for me to say thank you. For watching. And that's all she wrote.
I made this.